Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Daily Grind. My name is Kelly Johnson, your friendly and fun host. We are in episode 22, the very best one yet. Thank you for tuning in as always. And first of all, happy holidays and New Year's to everyone, whether you celebrate with family, friends, colleagues, first timers, or a good old group of people. It's a great time of the year to enjoy with others. Also, a great time of the year to reflect on 2019, recent memories that you'll forever cherish, and look ahead to some new and exciting experiences with people you interact and learn with stories that you'll create and share. So, fitting to say, today's episode kicks us off in the new year with a new special guest and her story. So, without further ado, let me introduce you to Rachel Cash. She's a project manager in data privacies by day and a dual business owner, home textile and privacy and security application by night, and always looking to network. She lives in the northwest suburbs of Chicago and works in the surrounding area. Overall, great person to have on our show today. So welcome, Rachel. Woo!
Hi, Happy New Year.
Yes, Happy New Year to you as well. So exciting to have you on today's episode. So I'm just going to kind of jump right to it. We want to introduce you to our listeners. So can you tell them who you are, where you're from, and what you do?
Here I can give a quick background. My name is Rachel Cash. Thank you for introducing me. I am a privacy attorney. I'm licensed in Michigan, and I work in Chicago. I took a job as a project manager on a data privacy project. And I've just kind of been exploring my background in business and privacy and data and finding my way.
Yeah, that's super great answer. Basically, in a nutshell, all the fun and exciting things that you do on a daily basis. Perfect story to share on our daily grind and all. I guess maybe first of all, how did you get interested in data privacy?
So, kind of funny story. When I was in law school, I was studying for the bar exam, and I took the bar. And in the middle of my essay, so for the bar exam in Michigan, there's 15 essays. Probably right into typing my third essay, my computer crashed. And, I finally figured out how to, I had to reboot it, and it wasted a whole bunch of time. But afterwards, I did some exploration, and my computer had a virus. And while I was waiting for the results, because this was traumatic at the time, I just kind of fell into security and trying to speed up all the information there was to know about security, which led me to privacy. Security and privacy are heavily intertwined, especially in the legal space. And I just kind of fell in love with it. And it was kind of just because it caused great personal trauma during a stressful time, and it led to my career.
Mm-hmm. Wow, that's so unique how you had that one experience that's kind of I guess create a path for your personal growth, your career growth, and what you do on a daily basis now. Super unique. I guess too. In addition to data privacies, how did you become involved in having not just one but two businesses?
So again, I must have I don't know, something about law school must have just been really a time for me to kind of find myself.
Mm-hmm.
So probably so law school 3 years, and my second year of law school kind of not was bored, but wasn't feeling fulfilled. I liked the law, I liked learning about the law, but it wasn't feeding the itch. I learned how to sew when I was in middle school. And so when I got to law school, I was in North Carolina. So I went to law school in North Carolina, and it's heavily into textile. And I started going to the colleges. So North Carolina State has a huge textile department. And I just kind of said, this is something I can do. I think Brooklinen had just really came on the scene, and I just started sewing again. If one was stress reliever, and two, I was like, I can do this. This is a business I can get into. And I just started sewing while I was in law school, wanted to relieve stress, and it also just provided income, and it kind of grew from there.
Mm-hmm. Wow, that's really cool. How long have you had your home textile business now?
So that was, I graduated in 2017, so that I must have started in 2015. So it's been about, now 5 years.
Oh wow, that's great. Oh yeah, 2020. That's really cool. Then I'm assuming you kind of just learned stuff as you went on, or did with entrepreneurship, did you take classes in school? did you kind of look at videos? Did you have other, like, what resources kind of helped you learn the process of having your own business?
Right. So I think I'm like it's like in a unique situation because I was in school at the time. I had the opportunity to take on business law classes. So in terms of legal structures and even as far as doing contracts, I had a lot of exposure to that, so I felt really comfortable. I think the parts where just finding customers and how to in one, I provide a product, a physical product in one of my businesses, and that was a huge learning curve. Getting the products were in the U.S. Bed sheets are made in the U.S. or very rarely made in the U.S. It's hard to get products here. So all of that was kind of trial and error, staying up at 4 in the morning to find textiles and the right equipment and just trying to sew a bed sheet over and over again till I get to the right pattern. It was, besides like the legal part of it, just the business part of it and actually the operations was something that I just had to struggle through and get through it.
Interesting. Yeah, that's a lot of different things. It's good that you did start, like you mentioned, in school, so it gave you opportunity to kind of learn as you go. And then I know even too with my nonprofit that I started in college, I actually talked to the Law and Entrepreneurship Clinic, so I probably talked to someone like yourself back in the day to help establish a 501(c). So I'm assuming you probably walked through that process too when you were in school.
So it's funny. Like I was also part of my legal background or education in school. I was worked in the legal clinic as well, so I provided free services to small businesses or nonprofits. So I had firsthand experience dealing with varying different kinds of businesses would come in and need help, and sometimes from a legal perspective, you're also helping them with their business approach and operations because it has to make sense.
Yeah, and then I'm assuming too throughout your I guess educational career, learning from their situations or the small businesses, were you able to take skills that you've gained or from like hearing their stories and kind of apply it to yours, trying to building your consumer base and logistics and how to run it?
I think when you have a lot more fun and experience, I think this is just in the entrepreneur space in general. I think we hear a lot that it's hard to start your own business and how hard it is. But when you're helping an entrepreneur, you really see like the blood, sweat, and tears that go into it. And when someone needs a lawyer, sometimes it's a really good opportunity. They get a contract with a big business and they need help. And sometimes it's in some cases was they were almost at the brink of bankruptcy and trying to figure out did they properly protect themselves with with how they did their legal structure. So I think it was like a double-edged sword a little bit. Like, it gave me like, oh yes, this is fulfilling me, but also it kind of scared me into like, here's some of the mistakes I've seen. I've seen people get overexcited about contracts. You get a contract with a big company and you are excited, so you accept any terms. And instead of really reading the terms and understanding your business impacts, I think it made me a lot more weary as you move forward in business.
Yeah, you're exposed to what could possibly happen or risks down the road, basically. And like you mentioned too, people get really excited or just by the big idea, but you have to read through everything, even the fine print.
Right.
Yeah. What has pushed you to even start your second business? Can you tell our listeners a little bit more about that one? That one's a little bit more recent.
Yeah. So the second business, I think we're at a year and a half. So it kind of took root when I took the bar exam and I started really exploring the technology space and data management. And I had a really big idea for software, specifically how data, consumer, and businesses work together with data. And as I started researching how technology is built, like how iterations are built, I just decided that I was going to start with a small product and build my user base and then grow out my service or my application. So it's, essentially it will grow to a SaaS solution. So we started with very keys-based services for users and then build from there. And so it really started because I found a gap for me in the industry. Like I didn't know anything about technology or security when I started, and I feel like most consumers or people who use technology are in the same boat. And as the data space and privacy space is changing, I wanted to be on the front end of having that connection between legal, a consumer, and how data is managed.
Yeah, that definitely makes sense. I guess you started with a smaller product and then slowly able to grow, fine tune the one thing and then expand to more services. Yeah, you mentioned you didn't have too much of a technology background. How did you, I guess, gain the knowledge and like other resources? Do you reach out to people for this business as well? Is that part, like, did you become inspired from your current day job in the industry?
Yeah, so that's kind of what's so cool about the job I'm in, specifically where I'm a project manager. So I'm really a program manager over two different projects. I have teams under me, but I am highly in a space where I'm dealing with data and data privacy. So I'm very submerged into the technology of a large enterprise and understanding that data flow. So a lot of it was I put myself strategically in a position that would benefit me not only from my legal background, because it is a privacy project and privacy driven, but to help me fill the gaps for my technology gaps. So I am daily meeting with architects and sitting in the meetings and learning, and I feel comfortable because I'm leading teams and need to have the understanding as part of being a project manager. I don't know if you talk to a lot of people who are project managers, but part of the first part of being a project manager is to really understand what the intent of the project is and who your project owner is. And so it gave me the ability to ask a lot of questions and read lots of documents and really access and understand that data lineage. So I kind of put myself in a position to fill that gap by working a day job that also pays for my side businesses.
Yeah, that makes sense. You have to somewhat fund your business. First of all, you are our first project manager on the Daily Grind, so history in the making for 2020, basically. So yeah, can you talk a little bit more about being a project manager and I guess more about the data privacy industry? I'm very new to that industry.
Right. So I think as we are people who are heavily consuming technology, we have given our data away very easily. So name, phone number, it's very easy for us to give it away online and to get services. So you sign up with Apple, you sign up with anything, and you give data, and that company uses that data. So if you use Instagram, you use Facebook, they use that data as part of like their revenue model. And so data has become a commodity, meaning it's worth money. The new laws that are coming into effect, so the CCPA, which is the California Consumer Privacy Act, requires that companies manage data better and give consumers more rights with their data, so you can request deletion or know what a company has on you. So the privacy space in the data space and how data is being managed is shifting from being owned by businesses to being back to the consumer. And so that's why I'm really interested in this area because, from a legal background, it's interesting anytime your rights legally shift because technically privacy is to me, in my view, is a constitutional right. You have the right to privacy in your home, and your data is also part of an extension of you. Therefore, you should own it and be able to control it. So it just is a very interesting part of the law. In terms of being a project manager, this is being one of the first ones on the program, or the first one on the program, I'm sure a lot of entrepreneurs are like this. I'm a big picture person. I am not good, and seriously, this is just so backwards. But I'm very bad at paying attention to details and writing out every step that needs to happen to get to my goal. And so not only in this project manager role did I get access to technology, not meaning I have access to technology, but learning about technology, very hands-on, but also forced myself to practice taking notes, writing milestones, building out project plans, and keeping other people on track, and then keeping notes of where our progress is, and then measuring our risk and issues, and if our project is going to be delivered on time, or how can we mitigate a risk. And I think that's something that's almost invaluable to me. I got paid doing this job, but it's a skill set that I never had before, because I'm a dreamer. I like saying, this is my end goal, and I didn't, necessarily, I always had friends who were like, all right, Rachel, you need to write down these steps to get here, or you'll miss things. And so this job has forced me, in the context of my job, to write it down. I've noticed. I've also translated that over, since I have two businesses, to those businesses, and kind of put myself in an agile space where I do short sprints from each business. So I would make a 6-month milestone goal. 6 months, this is what we want to get to. This is our milestone. We need to track what we need to do to get there, and then measure our results and identify really quickly if we are off track of getting to that milestone. So I see more progress, and less oh, well, I thought this big thing was going to happen, but I didn't write down what I needed to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, very interesting on how you're the big picture person, and then but it's really cool that in your project manager role you have developed a skill set that you can apply to basically your businesses, and even outside of the business realm as well. And then too, with the whole data, I do like how you word it. Data is a commodity nowadays. Have you seen over the years just kind of the increase in what I guess other businesses have been using across industries, your data? I know I get updates or emails, or I bet listeners or even people out listening to this podcast get all those privacy statement notifications, or when they download a mobile app. Can you touch maybe a little bit on how that applies to someone just kind of like myself that's not working in this industry, but how I see it on a daily basis?
Yes, I think in the past it's kind of like a contract relationship. We have no choice when we sign up for a service. We just blindly accept terms and conditions and their privacy statements. It could just say we keep your data for business use, and we will retain it and do whatever with it for our business use. But for companies that are selling your data, that may be their business use, and that is. And so I'm sure many of you listeners, and you yourself, and I have received lots of new privacy statements as of January 1 of this year, because GCPA went into effect this year, on the 1st of January. And so companies have had to shift. There's been a shift in how data ownership works and what the rights of the consumer has had. I think previously technology has progressed so quickly that consumers have kind of not paid attention to what's happening to their data. And now there's a time and space to feel okay, let's pause and think about how our data is being used and where companies are putting it. And now we have more breaches, more people are using our data in a negative way. And so it's kind of making people pay more attention, and that therefore is trickling down to companies to be smarter and more strategic about how data management works. So I think as we move forward, people will, one, get more educated, and so hopefully my application, Albright, part of it is we offer a VPN and dark web monitoring tool, but we're building out to offer that education model. And I think as people become more educated, you are more empowered to use your commodity, which is your data, to make smarter decisions. Because if your data, your relationship with the company isn't just based on that service, you're also giving them something in exchange besides your access to social media. You're also giving them access to data, so you should have more control over that relationship.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, your business then plays that role of then the educational tool, and then also the product of Can you explain a little bit more to our listeners? I guess maybe describe what your product does again.
Yeah, so as a reminder, we're on iOS and Android devices, and we offer VPN, which is a virtual private network. So essentially it's encrypting all data that's moving through your phone. So right now we're on the mobile devices only. And future iterations going out to other devices. So any data that's crossing or being exchanged on your phone is encrypted. So therefore, like if you're at a coffee shop and you, say Starbucks, and you get on their internet, which is free internet, which is easily has the ability to be hacked. If you're using a VPN, then it's harder for a person to know what you're doing on your phone or what data you're putting on your phone. So it's kind of like a security tool, but it also manages and mitigates your risk to people having too much access to your data.
Mm-hmm.
The other tool, which is a opt-in option, is the dark web monitoring tool. So essentially, you could put in your email address, self-elected, and search the dark web. So we have a scrubbing tool that searches the dark web without connecting you to it. So it limits the danger to you, and returns back if we find instances where your email, for example, has been exposed on the dark web or so on. And there's other, use cases. You could look up your social security number if you chose, or your passport information. And then from there, if we find something on the dark web, we will give you tips, not full out suggestions, but tips of how you can mitigate that. So say it's your social security number, we give you, this is the phone number to the top 3 credit bureaus where you could either freeze your account or notify them that you believe your social security number has been breached and you need to take action. And there's varying levels of that. So with your email address, that's email address is kind of highly public, but we will still give you tips to mitigate that. Hey, maybe you should consider changing your password. This is some industry best standards. And so we're still building out that education part of our services.
Mm-hmm. Wow, yeah. There's, as you're just describing your whole business and product and service. Basically, I'm just going through my head. Everyone that's out going to their local coffee shop or looking, walking around in the city with their mobile phone or smartphone, they're gonna they connect onto the Wi-Fi or wherever. It's definitely that's every basically every second someone could be using your product basically. And two, I was just thinking another application is just I was just out of town, hotel room, you're logging their Wi-Fi service, things of that. There's so many different so many different we're exposed to so much things nowadays, before even the whole smartphone smartphone technology came about. Very interesting. So I guess with we talked a lot about your mobile application business, the data privacy and security. Let's go a little bit back to your other business, Home Textile. So is that because you started that in college? Now, what's your target market, and do you serve people? Because I know with your privacy and security, that's endless. You're kind of all over the place. That can apply everywhere. Is Home Textile, is that more of a target market via the Midwest, or can you talk a little bit more about that business?
Yeah, so with the Home Textile, and it's interesting. It's kind of I look at innovation across across any industry. And so for bed sheets specifically, there's very little innovation that happens in the bed sheet market. Mm-hmm. And so from my Home Textile standpoint, we are online right now. So we're RachelAnnLinens.com is where you can get our products. But we were also in Macy's in Michigan, and we're actively pursuing and in contract negotiations with other bigger suppliers because of products and what we would like to offer. But what I'm really trying to get Rachel Linens and where we're trying to move to is the hospitality industry. Mm-hmm. So when I go back to this innovation, I had this idea in law school where I was really bad at making my bed. And like, meaning like the top sheet, I wouldn't like pull it up. I would just hide it. And so what I did and decided to do was sew the top sheet to the fitted sheet and created a set that I called the Quick Set. And it comes in jersey. And what I targeted was college students. And so it comes like in this jersey braid material. And it comes in a drawstring bag. And we targeted college students to kind of really, you can move it really easily. It doesn't wrinkle. It's just put it back in the bag. And it's really easy for someone who's like me, doesn't like making their bed, and they just can pull it up. Mm-hmm. What we discovered and what we could quantify was that in the hospitality industry, we could save time for housekeepers making the bed in hotels. And so we're now moving into that space. We're also very passionate about the retail space, like our online market space, but we're starting to move over and transition into the hospitality space. We're offering this product and other products. Like, so we offer like regular sheets as well, like just plain white sheets, the fitted, the flat, and the 2 pillowcases. But more specifically, trying to cut down on time for changing beds and making beds in hotels or different hospitality spaces.
Mm-hmm. Very interesting. I like how that you have you had a personal experience, and then you took that idea and just like went with it as an entrepreneur. That's great. That's the stories that we like to hear. I guess with both of the businesses, do you have any challenges you'd like to share with our listeners? And it can be either one or both, or as an entrepreneur.
Yes, I think the challenges, I think it's going to be across like anybody, unless you're like a trust fund maybe, it's just funding. I think starting your own business is expensive, especially for me, for Rachel Ann Linens, it's a product business. So in order to, I don't drop shit. So I own my inventory. I also am in the process of opening a space in Detroit. So that's where I'm originally from. I'm from Farmington Hills, Michigan. But I'm in the process of having industrial sewers being trained with a local community college in Detroit. It's just that process of getting funding or funding any business you make. I think that's hard across the industry or any business that you're doing. And so you have to be very creative and not take no for an answer and be used to get no's. Like no's are kind of like just normal. Like you just get to hearing no a lot.
You have to stay positive, build confidence, and not be afraid to take some risks as well. Just kind of grow. You mentioned project manager as your day job. Do you that you have teams? How about with your businesses? Do you have your own team, or are you a solo entrepreneur?
So I have for Elroy, I do have a development team and a project manager who assists me. Additionally, I have lots of like advisors and mentors. It's a different tech space. So it gives me the ability that most people are remote, and so we have daily meetups, and so my teams like kind of report on a board. That's like a Slack board where we do daily reports if we have any issues with the application, and I'm still looking to grow that team. I actually we'll get to this, but I just had a meeting with one of my mentors who is a CFO, and we were talking about what are the key members I just bring on as employees. Right now everybody is a contractor. It's much harder when you're dealing with contractors as a kind of a sole founder. I don't have a co-founder. I had early stage experience with family investors, but I am the person who makes the decision, so it's much harder. In that respect, for Rachel Ann Linens, I have a marketing person who is my marketing team. I also have a creative kind of director, but she works with other businesses as well. And she more is my supplier's creative director. And so the supplier I have, I buy the fabric from. So I buy 120-inch width fabric. and she helps me with picking colors and sends me like trends and like help guys like where is the industry, where are we moving, how can I make predictions. So my teams are relatively small, so I have to make most of my decisions by myself right now.
Mm-hmm. And then with building those teams, were those people that you went to school with, past colleagues, current colleagues? How'd you build your teams?
So a lot of recommendations. I have one person who's the project manager for Elroy. He went to undergrad with me. He is a project manager for me part-time. He has a full-time job as a project manager. He's just really good at his job. Everybody else has been kind of word of mouth, and I just recommend this from everybody. The more you talk about what you're doing, I think the more help you will get and more buy-in you get from other people. So it's kind of like I talk about what I'm doing, and someone will tell me, like, hey, I have someone who's in marketing. She's really helped grow this social media portion. I think she would be a good match for you. And just kind of I give people a lot of chances too. And I think, it could be bad and good. And I give people chances if I get a recommendation from someone I trust.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think you put the nail on the head there in regards to the more you talk about what you do and comfortable with others, or when you're out and about, like if it's like a networking event or just in general for our listeners, like the more you share your story, the more able you find similar interests or kind of overlapping things that you can connect with in a business setting or just personal setting as well. I think networking is key, or just being able to, share what you do, and sometimes you come across similar backgrounds.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That I would say a really good success story on that part of your businesses plural. So so getting to your daily schedule. So like your daily grind, how do you balance having that project manager job as well as your two businesses, or being organized? Like, can you share kind of how you balance it?
Yeah, so like this is like I guess I'm in the ceiling cracked in because it's kind of like you have very little sleep. I don't know, maybe I know I'm sure everybody listens to a lot of podcasts. I hear people like I get 8 hours of sleep. Yeah, that's not me because my full-time job, I'm a consultant, so I can work from home pretty regularly. So I do have a lot of flexibility. Like this weekend, for example, I had flexibility to come home and have a whole half day where I could just dedicate to meeting with my financial controller and make our Q1 through Q4 budget for 2020 and get some really good estimates. So it's the nature of my contract. I spend a lot of weekends just grinding out what I need to do with Elroy and Rachel Ann Lennon. And I do get a lot of help from different people. Like my family's very supportive of my businesses, and I'm probably typically working 12 hours at least most days, trying to split between where my day job and Rachel Ann Lennon and Elroy. I've kind of done to myself that I have two businesses, and I haven't got to the point where I can step away. And I think that's one of the recommendations. I think I was reading or listening to something where they're like, when you build a business, you have to automate it as much as possible. And that's something that I'm working on doing for both of my businesses to make it so if I step away, the business still runs. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that makes sense. And then you have to be automated because you only have so much time in a day, in a week basically, to work on a business or have at least some sleep, I guess, or balance other things, family time, friend time, etc. Do you have favorite things to do outside your work to if you I guess stress relievers to your businesses if they get if you need a little break or something?
Yeah, so like actually one of my best friends, and she's also just like as this process. So I like work out twice a week with my personal trainer, who also is like one of my best friends now. Because and then that's one of my stress reliefs. Like when I go at like 7 a.m. before I go to work, like so I take a shower there. And so from working there, it's really close to my work, and so that's one of the things I make sure I do every week. Is of course everybody doesn't need a personal trainer, but whatever gets you to have at least an hour block where you're doing something that's relaxing or relieving some kind of stress. I usually come in and like so stressed, and it's like 7 in the morning. So how could you possibly be stressed? And I'm like, well, I have teams overseas. I deal with a lot of projects overseas. I have emails from like 3 a.m. onwards, so I have a lot going on. Also, I like going to the movies. There's just little things that I do that just make me calm. I spend a lot of time just going home and relaxing, like traveling. So I think once you find out what helps you relax, just doing that, even if it's for a little short periods. I used to like reading a lot. I don't really have the time to do that as much. I'm currently studying for a test. So I'm reading a different book than the studying book, but definitely finding at least 2-3 hours a week where I'm just not doing anything that's related to work or business is kind of what I've kind of goals for that week.
Yep, I would totally agree too, because you don't want to burn out from something that you're passionate about, and you do have to find that time, because you can't be doing the same thing all the time, 24/7. Just having those breaks helps you stay, I guess, stay refreshed and able to not be totally stressed out or walk away or things of that. And I think too, even coming from my own perspective or even other listeners out there as well, if you like sometimes the outside time you do different things, like if you're at the gym, like you think of other ideas that you could apply to your business or kind of brainstorm.
Right, and I am in a really lucky, like I'm in a very unique position. My businesses and all of the work that I do are completely different. So Rachel at Linens is a lot more relaxing to me sometimes than Elroy, just because it's essentially I'm picking out colors or I'm sewing a new product. Like it's stuff that, so, you know, besides the business operation part, like some of the day-to-day tasks to get the business forward, like are pretty relaxing tasks. Like I'm sometimes just looking at color Pantos, and trying to make a decision. So it's not like some aspects of my businesses aren't as bad as like, you know, some people are saying. Like so, I agree. And finding that balance is important.
And too, like with your businesses that you've been an entrepreneur, owning your sole founder for a while. So over time, you become more comfortable, or I'd say more organized, or more you know what to expect in certain areas, or you're able to. It's not like as someone that just started like a month ago or something. You've now built over time a good base, and you understand the flow of the business and what time of day you're doing this, or when you need to call someone this or order things of that nature.
Right, and I really recommend, like, if you can find someone who's either not in your business or doing something similar, even if you don't think it's similar, if they're selling a product, if you're selling a product, anybody would do. Finding someone that sells the product and like kind of someone who's willing to mentor you, I think that's so valuable and will limit how many mistakes you make. I made a lot of mistakes along the way, and so in that really early level, you can relieve a lot of stress if you can find someone, a mentor, who, even if they're a young mentor, even if they're only been in the business for 1 year, they'll at least understand, like, if you're bringing products in from China, the taxes and the tariffs and how to get someone who will clear customs for you. That's a whole different process. And just having, like, a mentor who's willing to help you will help with that balance.
Yeah, mentorship. I would agree on that too as well. Like someone else to, I would say not bounce off ideas, but if you have questions, someone to ask questions to. And let's say if your first mentor doesn't have the answer, there's no limit on how many mentors you can have. As many people as you like, you could reach out to as many people as you like, or people in other, like you mentioned, other industries. That's really key. Key learning note there. So we talked about a lot about your daily schedule. You painted us a picture of your crazy grind out there. What's on your daily grind in the upcoming weeks, Rachel?
So I will start from like just today. I'm on Eastern Standard Time right now, but my job is in Chicago, so that's Central Time. So my first meeting was at 8 Central. So that's 9 Eastern. But I had an earlier meeting here in Detroit before that with my mentor, who's the CFO, to help me with my future funding. I have a meeting tomorrow, so the rest of the day tomorrow will be dedicated to a investor for Elroy, and more of an advisory investor who will be helping me get my first seed funding, my first round Series A of seed funding for Elroy. We're having a pretty aggressive round, and so much of tomorrow will be dedicated to that. Sunday, I have a fashion or a photo shoot for Rachel and Lennon because I'm in Michigan and I know photographers here to take pictures, product pictures for content. Especially being in the digital age where I'm having this balance between privacy and like social media. But if you have a product, you need pictures for content for social media. So that's what I will be doing Sunday. The rest of the week is pretty much dedicated to my day job, which pays the bills. And in the evening, I will do either I split my days between Rachel Lennon and Elroy on to do their week during the week just to control like how much mind time I'm spending on businesses. And then my birthday is on Wednesday, so I will take a little break.
Nice.
I was supposed to go to Germany next week, but I canceled that trip because there's a huge home textile convention there. But I would only be able to be there for like a week or a day during the time that the vendors would be there. So I decided not to. So I just canceled that trip. So I will have a pretty chill week this week.
Wow, lots of exciting things coming up on your schedule. First of all, happy early birthday. That's perfect timing. Perfect timing for our podcast episode. All the different meetings that you coordinate and plan or involved in. Do you have like any tips or advice for, or even like key like apps, or how do you schedule stuff? Do you like use a particular app or on your laptop or on your phone?
So it's kind of interesting. So I schedule most of my stuff on my phone, and I just expect a lot of people advice. And you're actually pretty smart, and your calendar will just kind of set out your day a little bit. I'm not that great at like adding it. I do have a binder, which I'm much better if I write down stuff. I write down what I need to do each day, or if I have a specific appointment, and then I'll set alarms at night based on the appointments that are either written down or in my calendar. Like I'll just set other notifications according to what's going on. Most of the people I communicate with all are very techy, so they all send like e-invites to stuff. Like the meeting the meeting tomorrow is a lunch meeting, but he sent a e-invite because it's working session lunch meeting is what he called it. So yeah, definitely my phone. If I lose my phone, that's it.
Nice, both in person, and you work remotely, or you communicate with a lot of people, or you communicate both in person and outside the office as well. So yeah, good to have on your mobile as well as writing stuff down as reminders. Do you have a word of the day to motivate our listeners out there?
I do. Let's see. Write some links to news. It was one of my favorites. So that basically, I was an English major. So do whatever you want to undergrad and kind of find your way from there. The links to news was one of my favorite poets. And what I like to say sometimes is when a man or woman start out to build and work, he starts with himself first, and that's just something I remember when I'm trying to build the products and the services I want to build. I also think of what do I need to do to get there myself and make those changes.
Perfect. Ties in perfectly with our episode and the message for today. If listeners have questions, comments, want to get in touch with you, how can they do so after the podcast?
So best would, and I'm open to people emailing me. I'm fine with that. My personal email is racash32@gmail. For Elroy, for Instagram, we're Elroy-AI. No, sorry, ma'am. It's Elroy app. At Elroy app. And then for Rachel and Lennon, it's Rachel, and then ANNE, Lennon, on Instagram. And all of that's linked to I have that on my personal Instagram too, which is _Rachel Cash.
Mm-hmm. Perfect. Yeah, we'll put all your contact info in today's show notes. Thanks again for tuning in today's episode. When it comes to sharing my story with you and ways to follow The Daily Grind, our website is www.kjfwi.org/thedailygrind, all hyphenated. Listen to us on YouTube, Spotify, iTunes. Check out all the episodes and leave a review for us as well. Questions, comments, hit me up on Twitter or Instagram at Kelly J. Lefty. Until next time, everyone out there, have a great day.